Hi guys! Today I'm going to be doing the science experiment that's in your packet for this week about making a bubble tower. And while we do this experiment, you are going to see how different solutions interact with each other and can change what happens. So here's what you're going to need for your experiment. You're going to need a small bowl, 2 glasses, one shorter, one longer, red cabbage, not a whole red cabbage, just a few pieces, I'll show you that later, baking soda, vinegar, and some sort of oil. I just happen to have avocado oil, but you just need some sort of oil in your house. Okay, now that I have my materials, let's read step 1. Step 1 says, half fill the small bowl with warm water. Cut thin strips off the red cabbage, letting them fall into the water. Let stand for 10 minutes until the water turns a deep purple. First, it says half fill the small bowl with warm water, so I'm going to do that first. Now I have my small bowl that's about halfway filled, maybe a little bit more, with some warm water. Not hot, not cold, but warm water. Now, in this step, it says cut thin strips off the red cabbage, letting them fall into the water. I'm just going to cut the cabbage with a knife, but you should not do this on your own at home. You should have an adult cut the cabbage for you. You can also eat some of the red cabbage. Okay, now I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes, just like the directions said. Okay, now I'm going to put a timer on for 10 minutes. Now that it's been 10 minutes, let me look at what step 2 says. Step 2 says, pour the mixture through the sieve into the large bowl. Put the cabbage leaves into a food recycling bin or the trash. Well, I don't have that sieve that they're talking about, so I'm just going to take the cabbage out with my hands. Wow, look at how my water has a deep purple color. Wow, just from the cabbage. Let's look at what step 3 says. Step 3 says pour 2 fluid ounces or 50 milliliters of the purple solution into the measuring cup. This solution is your pH indicator. Well, again, I don't have a way to measure, so I'm just going to pour a little bit into a glass like this. I think that's about what the picture shows. Let's look at step 4. Step 4 says, now add 2 fluid ounces, 50 milliliters of vinegar to your pH indicator. Don't take your eyes off the cup. The solution will turn bright pink almost instantly. It turns pink because of the vinegar's acidity. And then it also has a little side. It says, this pH indicator changes color when mixed with an acidic substance. Okay, so again, I don't have a way to measure 2 fluid ounces or 50 milliliters. I just have to work with what I got. So I'm just gonna eyeball it the best I can and hopefully it works. Now let's look at step 5. Step 5 says spoon baking soda into the vase or tall glass. Add enough to cover its base. Now let's read step 6. Pour oil over the baking soda. You need to add enough oil to fill the vase about 2/3 full. And then the arrow says pour the oil gently so it doesn't stir up the baking soda. I'm on the last step, step 7. Let's see what it says. Slowly pour the pink vinegar into the vase. As soon as the vinegar meets the baking soda, you'll see red bubbles rise up through the oil. Watch what happens over the next few minutes. As the reaction continues, the bubbles will change color as the acidity of the liquid inside them changes. A chemical reaction between the acid and the base creates bubbles of carbon dioxide gas. That's what makes the bubbles in pop or sparkling water, carbon dioxide gas, so it's not harmful. The oil is less dense than the vinegar, so it floats on top. That means that the oil is lighter. It's not as tightly compact as the vinegar, so it's going to float. It's hard to see through the screen, but what I'm seeing is there's a lot of bubbles, and bubbles are rising up. There's some big bubbles right where the barrier is between the oil and the vinegar water solution, and there's a lot of bubbles like inside. It almost looks like a lava lamp. Now remember what it said, you don't want to just pour this down the sink because it's going to ruin all the plumbing in there. Oil is just too thick and gloppy for it. So you want to make sure that you safely put it in the garbage, but you need to first ask an adult if that's okay. A really fun part of doing experiments is wondering, why did what happened happen? And I wonder if I did the experiment again and I tweak some things, what would change? Like I'm already thinking, what would happen if I added more vinegar? What would happen if I added less water? What would happen if I added more cabbage? What would happen if I added more baking soda? What would happen if I added less oil? So you might want to do the experiment more than once in order to see what happens, as long as that's okay with the adult in your house. You don't want to use up all your guys' oil or vinegar. Now you do the experiment, and then upload a video to Flipgrid showing the class what happens when you do the experiment.